Are campaigns against income inequality becoming a cliché? The endless fight to end the wide gap between the rich and the poor looks like it's leading to nowhere. The masses have gathered out in the city squares, protesting about social inequality, injustice, unemployment, inability to pay for basic commodities. All oligarchs must be pulled down from their high ranks of these social classes and be turned into mere urchins like us, because they have manipulated the terms of trade for many generations. Each family that comes acquires more wealth than it has inherited from its ancestors. They scream out to their provincial departments for justice. They claim that the poor man gives more to others and pays more in taxes compared to his wealthy counterpart, even though he has given out only a quarter of his earnings. That's a huge cut based on his social status. The funds given off could have sustained him for another month or two, or pay his rent. If the rich man is forced to pay more than a half of his earnings, the prospect wouldn't hurt him that much because he has a lot more to keep. One thing that lingers in my mind is, do these people really know what they are doing? Could they just be following another blind activist who claims to be speaking for the poor, yet he does not understand how the society is structured? How both the rich and the poor depend on one another. None can live without the other. In fact, the term rich and poor simply comes along after the entire society is put on a linear unit of scale in terms of material possessions. A prince once walked into a city. He gathered all the people in it and counted their number. He counted the number of bags of grain each family had put in store for the coming winter. Those who had 100 or more in their granaries, he called them rich, while those who had less than 5 were called poor. Yet all of them had enough to keep them alive during the winter. These terms only come along after he compared one person with another. Previously, they were all called citizens of the castle stone. When you demand that economic reforms be enacted against the rich, do you mean that we should take away all the savings of the rich and divide it among you? How sure are you that you are capable of managing it well? The wealthy nobles you see riding glittering horses, some of them were once dirt poor. The rich worked very hard for their financial success. It wasn't given to them on a silver platter. Even if all the wealthy people in the world were to give away their riches to the poor, there will still be poor people. The poverty of the world will engulf their riches and still remain in rags. Poverty is a tattered garment all humanity is born with. If everybody has the same financial level, then words such as rich and poor will disappear from our vocabulary, off the face of the English language. Have you forgotten that they have created jobs to tens of thousands who previously had nowhere to go? They created their wealth by making others rich, and then collect small quantities of gold coins from each person's compound. They had built a mansion for future cash flows back to them. The large stockpile of cash many claim to have is not literally in their pockets, but out circulating in the economy, in business, transport, NGOs, government institutions, etc. They are just a figurehead, a mere representation of the wealth the society owns at large. Pull them out, and see what happens to civil order. Unless you want to switch places, you in their luxurious mansions, and they in your makeshift camps. If you knew what life was like during the Dark Ages and thousands of years ago, and also in other civilizations across the world, you would be thankful that you are born into present-day age of reason. For some kings and their royal families owned everything in a country. Nobody was allowed to buy or sell property, travel, or do business without his permission. Those who were born into rich families remained in wealthy status, while those who were born into peasantry remained servants of others for the rest of their lives. The rich stay rich, while the poor remain poor by law, unlike in our today's society, where anyone, regardless of origin, place of birth, can work their way up the ladder of chivalry and even surpass those in the Super League. A lot has been done for the current generation, yet they still complain. They are given mandatory health care as soon as they are born. Thousands of needles penetrate their arms and bottoms, and as soon as they are able to stand up or walk, they are forced into school to be given mandatory education. When they become adults, the state borrows gold and silver from the wealthy merchants of the world and gives them to do trade. They spend that in some illegal, shady projects and end up losing all of it. Now you are coming back to the office, asking state officials to rob the richest merchants of the world of all their wealth and hand it over to you. What a shameful behavior, says The Economist. All these good things have been done for them, yet they still complain. I wish they could cover their faces so that I will not see them, and cover their mouths so that I wouldn't hear their endless complaints. Not unless you are better than they will you have the right to judge them. Penguinism is what you want, to create a condition where everybody has the same level of financial position. No one has more or less. No matter how others work hard for their wealth, you still want them to remain dirt poor. Here you have a chance to work your way to riches. If you can sweat your way to the top till you surpass them just as they did with others, why are you still complaining about inequality? No one has tied your hands and prevented you from working, and no one has blocked your merchant ships from conducting any kind of global trade. Why then do you still complain? There are countless organizations which are willing to pour tons of silver coins into your wooden ships. As long as you prove to them you are a brilliant trader, they will continue to support you until you become very rich, richer than the King of England. Most tycoons become wealthy after several decades of resilience, hard work, and patience. It would be unrealistic for anyone to fathom such kind of success in just a few years. All work and no sleep makes Jack a rich boy.